Disclaimer: we are not trained professionals. All topics are for the sake of discussion. Do not harass us if you die. Yay!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Firewatch podcast. This is the 4th episode, and today we're going to talk about just general safety and stuff that we think should be like more talked about as far as being safe around stuff like guns and all.
All right, where do you want to start?
I think we should
First
start
aid,
with,
guns, or fire?
I think we should start with the guns.
Cool. That's all me then.
Okay, yeah.
Gun safety. For certain things with guns, a weapon is always loaded, even when it's not loaded. All right. So if you don't have a magazine in it and there's no bullet in the chamber,
it's
still a loaded weapon. All right. You never know. Accident happens. Things happen.
I think but you still want to treat it with the respect.
Exactly.
That I know that there's nothing in here and that it's not gonna fire.
But treat it
as if it was. And I have zero training in gun safety and all that. None.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of it is common sense, like what you just said.
Right.
Treat it like it's loaded, even if it's not. And just to go off of that, I've seen videos and movies and stuff where they'll be at the gun range and someone will just turn around with the gun in their hand and just sweep.
They flag people. When you flag something, it's the scariest thing at a gun range. When your safety isn't on, this is your safety. And if you can place it and you squeeze a little too much, a lot of guns now have a very strong trigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 pounds, and your finger can turn that real easily when you're not paying attention, and you will fire that weapon. The weapon is fired. That is a negligent discharge, and you just fire a bullet into a crowd of people. It happened in a meeting, a showing of power from a group, that NFAC, not fucking around, or NF something. They're a Black Lives Matter subdivision of militia, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing with guns, at least. And so what ended up happening is some dude had an AR-15 or something like that, and he claimed that the bolt on the rifle moved forward, causing the weapon to fire. That's not how it works. A bullet is pin fire, so there's a pin in the gun.
Hits it, right?
Yeah, that hits it. So even if the bolt in a rifle moves forward, it doesn't fire the gun.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to break the action to send the pin forward, which will then fire the bullet. The weapon is fired then. And he ended up hitting 3 people.
How many?
3 people.
3 people? He hit them, or?
3 people were injured.
Oh, 3 people. Okay. Well,
from the gun.
Well, just off of scenarios like that, I think it should be important for everyone to receive at least
some level at least.
Nobody. Well, okay, wait, hold up. Not everybody should own a gun.
Right, for sure.
But everybody should go through some basic safety training.
Right.
Of even if they don't get a hands-on experience,
they should be briefed on it.
Briefed on it. Maybe so in school we talk about stuff here in California we talk about earthquake drills and fire drills.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the mix should we also talk about CPR briefly, and those are great. Yeah, those are good things to talk about, even though they went by really quick.
Right.
But I also think that there should be more stuff, and one of those things I think it should be stuff gun safety. Obviously we can't have guns at school. We can't. Of course, like that. Obviously we can't. But just even if it's a 1 day, 10 minutes, everybody should at some point at least listen to some very basic stuff.
I mean, I've always thought it'd be kind of a cool idea if the sheriff's department came to the school with a safe weapon and just showed it, and went over the basics. This is what this is. If it's a 12-gauge shotgun, safety is above the trigger, and it won't break.
And I like I said, I have no experience with it, but I think a lot of the accidents that happen are obviously because you don't know what you're doing, right. But also because of fear. Mm-hmm. Like people will look at it and be like, oh my god, it's a gun, be super careful,
right.
Or they'll be very panicky.
Yeah, they're jittery. They're like, oh my god, they're squirrels.
Yeah. And which in reality that shouldn't be something that happens. It's like working with power tools.
Right.
You should respect it and not be afraid of it. you should understand what it's capable of,
right?
But not fear it, because if you fear it,
then you could panic. Like, oh shit, there goes my hand.
Yeah, you could panic, and that could lead towards accidents.
Right.
Also, like, something that schools should go over more is when we talk about like fire stuff. Like if you catch fire, like they'll say stop, drop, and roll.
Right.
But nobody actually stops, drops, and rolls,
right,
and like practices that action at least once.
Right.
I remember that in elementary school, and I think once in middle school, we actually jumped out of the bus, right? Remember that?
Yeah. With
the safe padded landing, but we practiced like properly getting out of the bus if we're to stop, and I think that's very valuable, right? Because I ride the bus to school. Well, not currently because of COVID,
right?
But every day, I would drive the bus to school, and I know
you drove the bus.
Oh, well, I rode the bus to school. Sorry,
it's all good.
No, yeah, I would drive. But
not the way people.
I would know where, and I still know where all the exits are, where the first aid kit is.
I think every kid does, because it's drilled into our heads all the time.
Yeah, because every single time, the first day of school, the bus instructor always goes over it.
Right.
They always do, and I think that's super valuable.
Every year.
Because I think it also applies to public transportation, like the city buses. I think they're very... They have the same kick out glass. Yeah, they're the same type of like mechanisms to like kick out the glass and the doors and all that stuff.
I'm talking every kid who's ever sat next to the emergency door has thought about just pulling it open.
I've thought about it.
Every kid has. It's like what would happen if I just yeet and then hopped out?
Dude, some kid actually did.
What the fuck?
I didn't know this, but the alarm goes off. It was like it was just like a beep, but I don't know, just not important. But like I just didn't know that, so I thought that was interesting.
I knew the alarm went off because I sat next to a kid one time who was sleeping, and when he stood up, his back got stuck to it, and the beep went off, and the bus driver smoked both of us for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, and it was like clearly one of those situations where it was an accident.
Right.
Look, talking about accidents, going back to fire safety, I don't think many people know how to be responsible around the fire,
right,
to the like correct level, like as much as they should, because you can't just go around the city and like ask a random stranger if they could start a fire. Like I feel like if you did that, most people would say no, right? And I think that's very unfortunate, because I think that's how a lot of fires, especially here in California, happen.
Just negligence.
Yeah, just like complete negligence, ignorance of not knowing how to handle it.
Exactly.
Like the gender reveal. Like that's exactly.
That was stupidly negligent. The people who were doing it.
Like it's just that. I know they didn't do it on purpose.
But they didn't know what they're doing in the first place either.
And it could have been so avoided.
Yeah.
So easily if they just didn't do it.
Right.
But second, if they knew how to
probably do it. How to clear the area of any.
Like I'm pretty sure it was in an area where there was a lot of dry bush.
Right.
So fire spreads quickly, and so I understand that they panicked and that they couldn't get to it. But even then, I don't think it would have spread so fast to the point where if you know what you're doing, you could have probably stopped it.
Yeah.
Right.
So always have a fire extinguisher with you. Yeah. If you're
explosives. Always.
Explosives, pyrotechnics, anything that involves a flame, always bring a fire extinguisher.
Which on the fire extinguisher, I think every household should have a fire extinguisher.
I think they have more than one fire extinguisher.
Please don't sue us. This house doesn't have any fire extinguishers.
We have like 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've talked about it to my mom. It's like to my mom that it would be a good idea to have at least one.
Right.
Just in the kitchen, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Oil fires are the most common causes of fire. Like if you throw some chicken on the thing and sparks it too much, there goes that fire. It instantly just happens really fast.
Which I'm surprised that people still don't understand that you cannot put out an oil fire with water.
It pisses me off.
Like I just don't get whatever. Anyways, I think every household should have a fire extinguisher.
Right. And everybody in the household above a certain age should know how to use the fire extinguisher.
Like I think that I believe in it so much. I think that should be a goddamn law.
Right, yeah, it should be.
Honestly, like one of those things like what some I know cars do that. Like every time that you register a car and when you go to the DMV, you have to go get a smog check, right? Like that's like a law. And I think similar to that, every time that you buy a house, every time that you register to rent a house, right? Part of the contract should be you have to buy at least one fire extinguisher and replace it when do they expire?
They do expire. Yeah, the chemical ones do at least.
But if they do expire, to replace it. And also just know how to put out a fire, because I think a lot of people, when there's a campfire, that they just toss water on it and they don't bury it.
Yeah, always bury your fires, because then it will suffocate the flame and the embers, so it won't burn more. It won't stay hot. It will cool down and it won't burn.
Well, it stays hot,
but
the thing is, it drops it dramatically because there's no oxygen that gets to it.
Exactly.
Which I think, like, that could have been done here at the gender reveal party, like just toss dirt.
Were they Mexican?
I don't know. I don't think they
just curve something up. Every Mexican knows the
cockroach killing cockroaches.
Exactly.
I don't think
shit works.
I don't think their identity has been revealed, because I think a lot of people are going to be very pissed at them.
Oh, I'm pissed at them.
Which I think we talk about it. I think actually in the second episode.
I think so, yeah.
Where like, dude, it sucks because that's like our backyard.
Yeah.
You know, and for guys,
I live maybe 20 minutes away from Big Bear.
Yeah, for guys like us, we just love being up there.
Exactly.
And it sucks to know that it's all burned now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
That's
not there.
Crazy, you know.
Unfortunately enough, a firefighter has lost his life. As far as I know, it's only been one. There could be more injuries,
which is more than it should be.
Yeah, like no, it shouldn't have had to happen. I think we both talked about that. At some point, we would have thought about being a firefighter. Are you still doing that?
I'm doing the military to become a firefighter.
Okay, so I guess we should save that for the next episode. What else can we talk about to draw?
Oh, we talk about getting stabbed and all that stuff.
Just to draw it out to 15 minutes.
Sure. If you ever get stabbed and they don't twist the knife, leave the blade in, or whatever happened, whatever is in you, leave it in, because it's applying vital pressure to the area that is being stabbed. It keeps the blood from gushing out. What deal?
I'm trying to look something up. You could keep talking.
It provides pressure to the artery or vein that has been punctured and will keep it from bleeding out. But if you're stabbed and it's twisted, pull it out very carefully so you don't cut more. And if you have something to apply, either way, if you leave it in or anything like that, always apply some antiseptic or some antibacterial to keep it from getting infected, and then apply pressure on the empty wound, so that way it won't bleed as much. It will still bleed and get all over you and all over your clothes and all over the person who's got stabbed, but always leave.
Okay, so I'm
always put pressure.
Yeah, I'm looking. I just looked up, like, officially, like, I'm at firstaidforlife.org from the UK, on advice on what to do. Dude, I don't think everybody just carries gloves around. Because
I have first aid kit. I have a pair of, like, antiseptic gloves.
Dude, sorry. Just to go back to the whole, it should be a law for everyone to have a fire extinguisher in their home. I think it should be a goddamn law that when you also register in the DMV, you also have to buy a goddamn first aid kit and leave it in the trunk of your car.
Yeah.
Because, I'm gonna be honest, we don't have a first aid kit in our car. If something happens, we're screwed. We don't have a first aid kit. We don't have the jump cables, the jump stone cables.
Oh.
We don't have that. If say we were to get into an accident, right? We don't have any way of, like, patching ourselves up before first responders get there. I also think that should be something that should be, like,
a law.
Yeah.
And if you can't buy one, they should provide you with one. At least the basic to know.
Because, I mean, they're not...
Scissors, gloves, bandages.
They're really not that expensive.
Yeah, you can make your own for under $20.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
And you can buy a really good one for, like, $50, which will, like, cover a lot of things, like snake bites, deep cuts, gashes, bleedings, I don't think there's lots you can do for like blunt force trauma, but there's several things you can do as a person to prevent
stuff from happening to you,
Yeah.
which is very basic stuff. But I think because today so little of those like extreme events happen that we just don't take it into consideration,
Right.
and we always say, "Oh, it's never gonna happen to me,"
We
until
forget-
the day it does.
we all forget that we live in a luxury
Yeah.
world. 100 years ago, some basic ass cut would have killed you if they didn't know what was wrong with you, and if you're in the wrong location at the wrong time.
All right, so I was looking it up and I pulled up something like some like guidelines, what to do if someone is bleeding because they've been stabbed and you just happen to be like nearby, like right place, right time type of situation where like you were there to be able to help someone.
First you shoot the stabber and then you
right. No, okay, so apparently like some of the like just some tips like to sit or lie down. I guess you don't. It's saying like you don't want the person to stand up because like
they get lightheaded.
Yeah, they could get lightheaded and faint and like pass out and hit their head, which could be even worse. You would want to examine the area to see if there's anything stuck in the wound, like any debris or anything like that. Level of heart. What? Well, it makes sense. Elevate the bleeding area above the level of the heart to slow down bleeding because gravity.
Yeah, it will keep.
But I mean, like, what if it's like right here? Like, are you just gonna put the person?
If it's in your stomach,
I guess just lie down, right?
You lie down, you put pressure.
Yeah. Pressure.
You put a tourniquet around the top of your body,
dude. Oh my god.
No.
Which I heard that there is such a thing as making a tourniquet too tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because.
But you want it to be too tight. That's the thing.
No, you don't want it to be too tight. The definition of too tight means you passed the limit, right?
Well, the thing is though, if it's like, depending on like how bad it is, tourniquets should only be applied when you have no other options, because the tourniquet is meant to keep you from dying. Let's say if you got stabbed in the thigh, femoral artery, and you're bleeding out, you want to crank that as hard as possible to keep blood from going through.
But I feel like if it's okay, without reading it because I just looked it up, I feel like if it's too tight, it could also increase blood pressure, which might make bleeding happen more. Ooh. You know, it's like that fine line of just enough to slow it down, but not too tight where it increases blood pressure. I don't know. A tourniquet must be put on sufficiently tight to stop the bleeding. If it is not tight enough, it can actually end up increasing blood loss. It may apply. I don't know. We're not doctors.
Yeah.
we're not doctors.
Right.
I don't know. Point of, I guess, moral of this episode is just like, I think it should be important for everyone to go through some basic safety and first aid training.
It should be in school.
Yep. Like, I think it should be like a full class, actually.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like a full elective, like.
Not even elective. It should be one of the mandatory classes. I feel.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing with school. There should be a lot of classes that should be mandatory but aren't. Like buying a house, getting a job.
How to balance a checkbook.
Yeah, all that stuff, which is just not. Which I think they should be a
life in the class.
Honestly. All right.
We're at 18, 19 minutes. Want to call it?
Yeah, whatever. That makes an episode. That's a good enough episode.
All right.
All right. Later.
Later, guys.